So if you are somebody who is on Threads and you're wondering how can you use it to help you sign more clients, or you are wondering if it is worth trying to learn a new platform, then this episode is for you. Threads is a really powerful tool that you can use for your marketing. It's really great for building relationships, for getting more visible, and to get a lot of engagement. And so this episode is all about making Threads an easy, natural part of your marketing so it helps you sign more clients. Welcome back to another episode of the Cozypreneur podcast. If this is your first time listening, Cozypreneur is all about helping you make money and work with the dreamiest of clients. So grab your beverage, get your cozy socks on, and let's dive in. So Threads is great because you bring your Instagram audience from Instagram. So if you already have an audience on Instagram, you already have an audience on Threads, which is kind of nice because you don't have to start from scratch, because starting from scratch is really hard when you start a new platform. So Threads is nice because I think that it shows me to a different set of people than Instagram does. And so I've gotten a lot more eyes on my business of people who really share my values. And I think that that's another great thing about Threads is because it is so conversational, it's easy to get to know people and to get to know their values and what they stand for a little bit more than Instagram, which is very curated, which, I have to make all of my posts on Canva before I post them versus Threads. Sometimes I'm just like, hey, here's a thought, let me post it right now. So really, it does help you get in front of more of the right people in a different kind of way. So if you are feeling like burned out on Instagram, it might be worth trying Threads. And one of the things that I think is really popular about Threads is that you get to be conversational, you get to be social, and it is also really great for referral opportunities. So both you referring other people and other people referring you Threads is a great platform for that. So when you think about Threads, it is really top of funnel. So it is thinking about getting people's attention with the problems that they are facing. And what you can do is make a post about the problem and then give them a little bit of a sneak peek for the solution. So you might want to link your freebie, you might want to link your podcast, you might give them some ways to solve the problem. But really thinking about Threads as top of funnel. So where people are struggling, what problems do they have, and validating their experiences. And then you can take them off of Threads onto your Instagram, onto your email list, and nurture them there. So the first thing that you want to do when you have Threads, and I'll just talk about this really quick, but really make sure that your bio is clear, what you do, who you help. You have links that are up to date and related to whatever you're promoting. And what is your vibe? Like, what's your personality? Sprinkle some of that into your profile, because Threads is a really great place to build your personal brand and to build who you are as a brand. And really thinking about what do you want your personal brand to look like? What do you want to be known for? And using Threads as a platform for that. One of the things about Threads, just like any other social media, is that it's a two-way street. You want to actually be social. That's how you're going to get the best results. And in order to build that engagement, it's a two-way street, right? You have to engage if you want people to engage with you. And so one of the things that you can do to find the right people is actually just search things that your people might search for. And that might help you get in front of people who are actively looking for help with what you do, or it might even get you other experts that do the same thing as you, but that's also a good opportunity to partner with other people who do the same things as you to offer a different perspective on the thread. There's a lot that you can do by searching for terms, and it's also really great to be able to search when your algorithm kind of goes to shit. Like mine will either turn into cats because I'll post like one cat thing and then all I see is cats. Or I get really sucked into the news and I'll start liking a lot of news things. So the algorithm will show me more and more news things, and it won't show me any of my business owner community. And so I can actually go into search and search, copywriting, sales pages, websites, whatever. And engaging with those posts puts me back on the right side of threads that I want to be on. So that is one of the functions that is easy to use, but it's not something that you necessarily think of like, oh, hey, I should use this search button to actually help me find the things that would make sense to engage on. And it might take some trial and error of like different keywords or whatever to find exactly what makes sense for you to search for. And if you're struggling, then DM me. I'm happy to help you with that. So what makes a good thread? You want it to be engaging. You want it to be personable. You want it to be easy to respond to, and you want it to be shareable. And so there's a few different types of things that you can talk about on threads. I mean, you could talk about whatever you want. There are no rules, but there are some things that might be helpful for positioning you as the expert. So one is talking about the problem. So like I said, it's top of funnel. You're talking about what problems, and all you're doing is just calling out the problem and then debunking a myth. So hey, maybe you're experiencing this problem because you think XYZ, but actually like here's a perspective shift that's going to help you. And so really start shifting the conversation. Hey, you're thinking it's this, but it's actually this. It's going to get people curious about your approach and how you do things. Another thing that Threads is great for is commentary. So what is going on in the industry? What are you seeing that you don't agree with? Where can you get a little spicy with it and talk about it on Threads? Those are posts that usually do very well. They get shared over and over again. And it really positions you as the thought leader of like, okay, I've seen what's going on in this industry and I have thoughts and opinions on it. And here's what they are and here's why. And here's how this informs my approach to my work. Those are going to be also really powerful threads. Another thing you can do is quick wins. So just giving people something that they can do in 5 minutes that's going to make them feel like, oh, that was really helpful. Those will help you get some follows of people who are looking for more tips and they want to go deeper with what the tip was. And then you also have stories. Stories are really, really great. They don't necessarily have to be business related. You don't have to make it like a non-business related story that then connects to business. Like people just want to connect with you as a human on Threads. And so really just sharing whatever you feel like sharing. And, all of that being said, like, yes, you do want to share stories about what's going on in your business. You do want to share stories about your clients, but don't feel like every single story that you tell needs to be directly related to business. One story that I posted that did really well was just talking about how I went to an in-person networking event. And I didn't really want to go, but I went and I met a lot of cool people, right? And so I'm not like turning that into a sales pitch for one of my offers. I'm just sharing my experience. And that post did really well. It got a lot of engagement, which was really great for building relationships and like getting to know people who share similar values as me of like the real human to human connection. So those are some of the posts. You can also do like engagement questions, polls, really getting to know people in that way. And then the other thing to consider too is should you schedule your threads? So for me, I do a little bit of both. Scheduling, you're going to have to find like what your happy medium is, what makes sense for you, what does your audience respond best to. Scheduling for me helps me stay visible even if I need a break. So if I'm having a crappy week, I don't feel like talking to people, I am totally peopled out, I just want to hide under a blanket. Having threads scheduled ahead of time makes it so I'm still showing up, even if I'm not showing up. Usually when I'm scheduling my threads, I'm doing repurposed content. So I'm taking stuff from the podcast, I'm taking stuff from my emails and repurposing them into my threads. And a lot of the time with my scheduled content, I'm also dropping a link to either my copy rubric or something else that is going on, the podcast, anything like that. So scheduling makes sense for me. I do it once a month. I schedule out one thread a day. So that way, at the bare minimum, even if I don't feel like showing up, I will still show up on Threads once a day, Monday through Friday, not the weekends. But On-the-fly content does better. I'll be honest, on-the-fly content does better. It gets way more engagement and it allows you more flexibility in what you're talking about. You can respond more to what's going on, what trends are happening, anything that's going on in your industry, you can respond to it. If something is happening in the news, you can respond to it. And so you can figure out what is going to work best for you. But on the fly does generally perform better than scheduled content. But for me, the scheduled content is really there because it supports the way that I run my business and I live my life, because it doesn't require me to be on all of the time. And then on the fly content is like bonus content. I post when I feel like it, and it also helps me build relationships with people. One other thing that I want to mention about Threads is how to build your network. So in Threads, a lot of the success that I've had from Threads is from people tagging me in posts. And so it might be somebody being like, hey, I need help with copywriting. And then they will be like, hey, Stacy's a great copywriter, and tag me. And then I'll go in and be like, hey, I'm Stacy. I'm happy to help. Like, shoot me a DM so we can talk about it. But this only works if you also tag people and you're also referring other people, because as you refer other people will start referring you when they see it. So doing that is a nice way of building referral partners, of getting in front of more people, and also of just like being a good entrepreneur neighbor, just referring people who are going to be good fits for specific offers. I think in terms of Threads, it really is just like any other social media. It is about a long-term relationship building. It is not about getting instant clients, though you can sometimes get instant clients if somebody tags you in it and it happens to work out. But basically, the most important things to know about Threads is to make sure that your profile is up to date. Your links are leading people to wherever you want them to go. Your bio has a call to action and it encompasses what you do and who you are and what you want to be known for. And really just focusing on building the relationships, engaging with your community, and then finding a thread strategy that's going to work for you. So whether it is scheduling a few threads so that you don't disappear for a week at a time, or if it's, just popping in a few times a day to kind of engage and maybe post some of your thoughts, I would, even if you are not scheduling and you are popping in, really think about what is it that you're promoting and think about how you can make threads based on those posts. So, right, if you're talking about problems that people are going through, what are the problems specifically related that go with your offer? If you're thinking about case studies related to that offer and you're wanting to make some threads around it, making sure that it's the same offer that you're promoting right now. And so really being thoughtful and meaningful about what threads are going out, and then mixing it in with some personality, some sass, and whatever else you want to talk about. For me, it's cats, it's politics, it's a little bit of everything. I really like to use threads as my personal brand versus my Instagram is more like the copy studio and it's way more copywriting related. My threads is still copywriting related, but there's a dash more of my thoughts and feelings about the world. So all of that being said, and like I say about everything else, there are no rules. You just have to find out what works for you. But I do find that Threads is a really nice way to build connections with other business owners. I have met a lot of really cool people on Threads. I've gotten a lot of podcast guests from Threads. And it's been really nice getting to know people there. And it's nice because I think it allows you to get to know people a little bit differently than you do on Instagram, and a little bit less of a poised way, I guess. You're not really planning so much. It's more just showing up and being yourself and really getting to know people in that way. So that is my spiel on Threads. If you have any questions or haven't connected with me on Threads, go ahead and do that. And thank you so much for listening. Until next time. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to rate and leave a review on your preferred listening platform. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe for weekly episodes about how to make money and work with the dreamiest of clients without having to get dressed in the morning. Make sure to check out the show notes down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.